Hey guys, welcome to the
Hi,
Real and Raw
with Tasha.
and Angela.
And today we have a special guest. Yay!
Hey,
Welcome.
Welcome, Franklin. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. How are y'all? How are
We're
y'all?
good. We're good.
Okay.
We want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to sit with us and chat with us. It's always great to have a male on the real and raw because we always
Yes.
give our experiences, but we always want to hear from a male's perspective. So we appreciate you for taking the time out. And if you can just give us some information about yourself.
Okay. My name is Franklin Clark. I guess, to everybody who doesn't know, and I'm 35 years old. I'm a single father of a 3-year-old. She'll be 4 in December. Um, that's absolutely my twin. Right now, that's basically my main focus right now is making sure that my daughter is good. Um, I am a motivational speaker. I do train with youth with my local church. I train youth and mentor them. I am a songwriter, a music producer. Um, so that I've been doing that my whole life. A few other things. I'm actually building a podcast, and I'm building my own production company at the moment. So got my hands in a lot of things right now.
Mhm.
And with the quarantine, just trying to stay focused and busy.
Yes, yes. Oh
Nice.
my goodness. So your daughter is going to be 4 next month. What's the date of her birthday?
December 27th.
Okay,
Oh, okay, before mine.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say
Yeah.
she was a Sagittarius, but she looked like she dipped into is it a Capricorn?
yeah. She
I
she was
think
supposed
she
to be here on Christmas, but she was like, "Oh no, I'm not coming out. I'm gonna
I'm
stay in
not
here for
coming
two
yet.
days."
Enjoy y'all Christmas. Enjoy y'all
Yeah,
Christmas.
right. So now we got the luxury of Christmas and birthday gifts all at the
Yes.
same time.
That's a headache.
It
Oh, look,
You guys don't even know that it sucks being a December birthday baby because you get one gift. They don't give you
yeah.
a gift for your birthday and then a gift for Christmas, okay?
Nope. Nope. No,
So,
we buy all of the gifts. We buy all of them at once, and we're like, look, let me see. You get the
see?
bike for Christmas, and you'll get the other thing for your
That's
birthday.
cheating. No,
So
See?
we, but I'm
no.
saying though,
My son's
break it.
birthday is the 28th of December, and I have to like give him his birthday gift and Christmas separate. Like we can't be cheating them. Like no.
Oh, we're gonna see.
We're gonna see as they get older,
Yeah.
right? As
I
they get
know, right?
older
When they
and
start asking for more expensitive stuff,
yeah, I
Hmm.
want an iPhone and I want an Apple Watch. Like I want both.
like either choose, yeah.
Yep. That's
so
how it is.
um
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's awesome. So we all have December babies. My daughter is December 31st. So we
Oh,
all
nice.
are in the same realm, which is pretty cool. So
New Year's and
so yeah, so that's awesome. You seemed very busy throughout quarantine. How have you been adapting through quarantine? Like have you been like actually quarantining? Have you been in the house all the time?
I've been working the whole quarantine. I've been I've been outside, but I've been finding my little pockets of space of privacy. Like I have parks around my home where I live.
Mhm.
And so, I try to get out and get some air and not be in the house. But I've been working in the entire quarantine. So
Mhm.
I'm used to it. And even with us going back, I feel like we're going back towards another shutdown.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of ready for it at this point. I'm used to it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm the same. I haven't really felt the quarantine like some people have. I don't have the
Hmm.
luxury to work from home, unfortunately. I'm out in these streets. So the
Yeah,
biggest fear for me is bringing back, COVID to my children.
right.
And so the best thing that you can do is try to protect yourself and, but we need the money to survive. So,
Sure do.
at the end of the day, you have to just pray and
I
Yep.
get it.
yeah. So thank you again for coming on.
Welcome,
Today's
welcome.
topic is going to be very interesting. And we always give our guests the opportunity to pick the topic. So Franklin told me what the topic would be earlier this week, and I thought it would fit perfectly because we all could relate.
Yes.
So today's topic
Yes.
is going to be on how to deal with breakups and heartbreak, right? Um, so explain to me why you picked that topic, Franklin.
I picked this topic because I couldn't pick marriage. I couldn't pick 101 or 15 ways for to have a successful whatever. But what I do have experience in is relationships and getting over heartbreak.
Mhm.
And I feel like in this time right now, a lot of people are in positions where they're either dealing with it or they're entering into situations where they're gonna have to deal with it maybe in a few months.
Mhm.
And this is around that time. And I just really feel like this topic will give people some insight on things to look for, things to avoid, how we can avoid going through heartbreak again and again, and actually be whole and free to finding true love if that's what we want,
Mhm.
and just living a better quality of life. And, I feel like many people go through a cycle of heartbreak and it diminishes just their quality of life in general. We spend, I know for me, without getting too deep into it yet, like I know I spent my 20s, looking for love and finding and being in and out of relationships. And it wasn't until my 30s where I realized why I was seeking that love. Like sometimes we can be addicted to it and not even realize it,
Mhm.
you know. And we're looking for that feeling, that honeymoon stage. And we're looking for that, and a lot of us don't know how to deal with just how to deal with the ups and downs that come in relationships. So we end up in these cycles. But I wanted to bring the topic up because I just really feel like someone could benefit from it, and this cuffing season, so maybe someone can avoid it right now.
Explain to me what cuffing season is because I've heard that a few times already. And again, I'm
Look,
not that great with slang, so enlighten me.
so look, we place these titles, these fancy titles on things in this generation. But basically, cuffing season is it's cold out right now.
Mhm.
You want a boo. You want somebody to be hugged up with. You want somebody to cuddle with. It's cold outside, so you just want companionship. That's what cuffing season really is.
Okay.
I guess somebody decided, you know what? Let
So
me
it's like
just
a
put a
cuddle
name.
buddy, like a cuddle buddy.
Something like
Some people
that.
want cuddle buddies. Some people think they're really looking for real relationships, and they
Oh, during the
go and
holiday
find.
season.
Yeah. We
Mm.
want the companion. We want the face to bring to Thanksgiving, to Christmas, and we want the person to kiss for New Year's, and the Valentine's Day, and by Easter we'll be broken up. So
You're
yeah,
ready to be like have a what is it,
right.
a hot girl summer, so you let go of the man for eat by Easter.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Angela, did you know what cuffing season was? I'm putting you on the
Yes, I did
spot.
know.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I did know.
I just didn't. Okay. All right.
You've been
Oh man.
married, so I've
uh,
been single, so
I don't know all this slang. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I definitely think we're definitely on the real and the raw. So I gotta get into some deep questions for you here.
Okay. Okay.
So how long was your last relationship
Mm.
and why did you separate, if you don't mind answering that?
That's kind of it's a complex answer. Um, well, my last relationship was the relationship after my daughter's mom.
Mm,
After her and I didn't work out, I was in another one that lasted for a year and a half.
mm,
No, maybe 2 years. I would say off and on, and I say off and on because throughout that time, I was trying to figure out whether or not I wanted to work things out with my daughter's mom.
mm,
And I was in a situation where my heart was with my child's mom
mm,
still, and I was trying to jump into a rebound relationship,
mm,
and it got to a point where I was in love with two people at once. And that right there was a recipe for disaster in
mm,
itself. Um, so yeah, that was like 2 years. It didn't last because I, I couldn't give 100% of myself, and I had to be real with myself. I realized that I did want to, and geez, I forgot that she might be watching this, but I forgot. But no, I did want to work things out with my child's mom. We did try. We had our differences. It didn't work out. But then trying to, I guess, balance um, another person in the whole equation, and it didn't work out because I look back at it now and I say, if my heart was 100% with my child's mom, I should have left no fallback option. It was like that rebound relationship became a continuous fallback option when it didn't work out or whatever. It was like, okay, well, there's this other person, and I tried to justify keeping that person around, um, because I was in love with two people. Again, I was in love with two people,
And that person was
or I love two people.
and that
So
person was like a safety net, right? Because you just wanted probably someone to show that they wanted to be there, and you knew that that rebound person would wanted to be there. So I feel like it was like a safety kind of precaution, like, okay, I'll have this person here just in case.
uh, looking back at it, maybe yes. At the time, while I was in it, it didn't seem that way.
Yeah.
It was okay. Me and my child's mom, we're not working out. So now, I'm moving on, and I want another relationship. It was something that happened too fast. It was a rebound. I didn't allow myself time to process and get over that first,
Heartbreak.
that first heartbreak. So it
Hmm.
was drowned in that new relationship to the point where I felt like I was happy in that new relationship, but I would always have these times of guilt. I would be guilty if we're having a good day. I'm feeling guilty because I'm like, well, why couldn't I have a good day like this with my ex? Or I do something good for the new person, and I'm like, well, why couldn't I easily do this for my ex? So there was guilt, 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 and I wasn't really able to really enjoy the relationship like that. Um, and so there was a lot of back and forth. I was honest with the person and letting her know that, look, I still have these feelings for my child's mom. I want to build this family. Um, you know, and she gave me the freedom to go explore that option. And fast forward, none of those worked because, and even now, I was speaking to a friend of mine, and one of my best friends, and she was like, you know what, you need to not be in a relationship right now because you're going to compare everybody to your child's mom. If that's who you love and who your heart's with, no one's going to measure. No new person is going to measure up to her until you're over her. And that's when I really had to do some soul searching. That's when I had to, really process and actually go through the feelings and face the feelings and face all of the emotions of the heartbreak. And
Hmm.
that was a dark time that I was trying to avoid. So,
Yeah. So how
yeah.
long? So how long have you not been in conversation? Like, how long have you been going on this soul search without the distractions, right?
Um, what was it, 2018? Like I would say summer or August, the end of summer 2018. That's when I was like single, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just face all of these feelings. That was
Okay.
2018. And so, yeah, this has actually been the longest that I've ever been single in my entire
Yeah.
adult life.
Yeah.
So it's something new, and I'm it's
So
a
what did
it's
you
kind
do
of,
to like move on?
what did I do
Like
to
what
move
did you?
on?
Yeah, because I
Um,
actually kind of went through the same situation that you went with
yeah.
my past relationship. I had kids with him, and I feel like I moved on like quick to another relationship to help me forget about my baby daddy. So I
Hmm.
feel like that's a mistake that sometimes we make, that
Yeah.
we move, fast, like for us to like, for the other new person to like help us forget who we truly care about or whatever the case may be. So
Hmm.
how did you handle all that? Because for me, it was a very dark place. Like it was really hard, and I couldn't even at one point I was like, you know what? And how I handle it was like going out and dating, talking to people, you know, talking to guys and stuff. So I could get my mind could be like not so into my baby daddy, whatever, and my feelings to like, you know, slowly like go away. How did you handle it? Like, how did you, you know, you took time, like what did you do?
So before pre 2018, I wasn't handling it the right way. Obviously, because I was in that rebound relationship, and
Right.
I didn't call it a rebound relationship. I just thought like, whatever, it's something real, and it felt real. Um, so that was kind of, again, that was a safety net, for the time being. Once everything ended with the both of them, it was like dark, like it was like depression. It was I had to fight. Nowadays, like when we go through our emotions and we're fighting certain things, we want to just express everything on social media. Um, like I got into a point where I was like, no, I can't. I'm not gonna do any. I'm getting texts. I'm not doing any. No subliminals, none of that. Like I gotta go through this, and that just it was a time I suffered through depression. I was depressed for a while. Um, it was I felt like, was I worthy enough, or and all of this, and as a father, I'm like, yo, like I always had this I always had in my mind that I wanted to be married with children and have the whole family deal. I never wanted to have children out of wedlock and all of that. And they're like, people don't realize there's so much pain that comes with doing things dysfunctionally. Like there's so much pain that comes with being a single dad and single mom. And I'm not getting off the subject, but I had to deal with that. I guess I wanted to be in another relationship because I didn't want to be that single father. And I was on this mission to find another woman that was like, that would be like a great mom to my daughter, and it would be like a great role model, not a mom, but a role model. Because I've made up in my mind that nobody could take my child's mom's place ever, and I would hope the same, but just someone who could be a good influence. So when I didn't pursue another relationship or another woman, like that was, I just dealt with the loneliness. It was just a lot of loneliness, a lot of overworking myself, and trying to pour myself into things that had to do with my purpose. Even with church, like I was in church all the time, like just doing stuff, and I'm like, look, after a while, like, yeah, we'll be, you'll all of these things are kind of like things we use to medicate what's going on. We want to work, we want to do this, but I just had to sit through it, like really sit through it, and then really try to reinvent myself. Because I believe that when we're heartbroken, we try to, after we leave a relationship and we're heartbroken, we try to go back to the person that we were before the relationship, but we got to reinvent ourselves, and
Yeah.
that took a long time to do. That took a long time.
Yeah.
um
And
you
that
know
sounds familiar. I feel like somebody said that before, that we try to go back to that person we were before. And we
yeah,
have to look back and say, like, all right, we have changed. We're not that person we were before the relationship. We're a different person now.
yeah,
And and I can relate to a few things, like, my separation has been for about 6 months now. And, I feel like I try to stay as busy as possible, right? I try to do all these things and like working like crazy. But
hmm,
what I found is that silence is going to come, right? So I can work from the time I wake up to the time I come home, but you have to sleep at some point. And I found
hmm,
myself when I get in bed and it's quiet, and then that's when I found myself like all the emotions poured into me, and now I'm like in bed alone crying, right?
hmm,
Because you're trying to ignore your feelings by staying busy, by doing these things, by talking to people, by hanging out with people. And what's going to happen is when those people go home and you clock out of work and you're in the house and you're home by yourself, or you're in the shower by yourself, or whatever, like that demon, so to speak, comes,
yeah,
and it's like, it overpours you. So
yeah.
um I guess, like, what how would you suggest to overcome that? Like, what did you find from that? I know that you said that you tried to stay busy,
Hmm.
but what do you feel worked for you?
What worked the most was me processing and understanding everything. I would look into a lot of I would read a lot of relationship like articles and look up a lot of relationship videos just to understand what I was feeling and what I was going through. And I'm the type of person where if I'm feeling it like now, I used to try to like just mask my feelings and not feel anything. But I found a way to get through them is to just completely understand them and accept it. So I had to understand like, okay, at this moment I'm feeling this because this thought triggered something or whatever, or I'm feeling it. Like I just had to dive deep into understanding heartbreak and understanding, what I was going through, and really understanding that it's gonna be over,
Mm.
that we're gonna get through it. Because I've been heartbroken before, and I've stayed in that state for longer than I needed to because I didn't understand why I was feeling that.
Mm.
And again, I was using those things to medicate, to mask, and 6 months down the line, after that band-aid that I was using, is not available anymore. Now I'm right back where I was 6 months ago, and
Mm.
I could have been healed in 3 months.
Mhm.
you know, um, but and that's really what happened. At the beginning, again, I was trying to like, after that, I was trying to mask it with dating people. I tried to mask it with all of these things, and but when I started to understand heartbreak and what I was going through, it didn't take any time at all. It was like, all right, okay, now I got better control of my emotions. I'm not allowing myself to slip down into depression. It's like, okay, I'm gonna feel today. I'm gonna feel lonely, but tomorrow I'm not. And taking
Yeah.
things day by day helped out a whole lot until one day I woke up and I just wasn't beat. I wasn't thinking about
Mhm.
my ex anymore. I wasn't stressful when a love song came on the radio. It did bust my whole soul into like, and I realized I was healed.
Yeah.
You know, um, and that's kind of where I'm at right now.
And
But
and I think that's really good. I think that, what you just mentioned as far as reading, understanding relationships and reading on it and kind of like those self-help books and
mhm,
even like for me, I noticed that in the beginning I was listening to, like you said, like romance. I was listening to R&B and all of these love
mhm,
songs, and I feel like it's important for us to feed our body with what we're
mhm,
going through at that time. So I don't think that you should, let me rephrase that. We need to feed our body with that positivity, right? So instead of
mhm,
us listening to those love songs that is going to keep us in that rut and remind us that we're no longer in this relationship, we need to shift our music, right? And we need to
mhm,
start listening to music that is going to encourage us and that's going to push us and motivate us to keep moving.
mhm,
I think that, for me, what I realize is there's light always at the end of the tunnel, right? God's never going to put you through anything that you can't get through. So at the end of the day, even though I have some really crappy days where I feel like I don't want to get out of bed or whatever, I know at the end of the day, I still see that light at the end of the tunnel.
mhm.
The tunnel's long, but I see the light. And that's the motivating part for me to keep pushing through. Um,
Yeah.
Angela, would you agree that like how's your process? I know that you are going through this, the process as well as of healing. What would you say your process is? And it looks like she froze.
Froze so hard, but
I
that's
know
so
she's
true.
like mean mugging.
Oh yeah, there you go. She froze.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. Did you hear me or you didn't hear me? So I was
I
saying,
didn't.
Angela, like what is your healing process? I know that you've been going through a healing process as well. So what do you think has helped you through, you know, these past year or however long since your separation?
Well, for me, what has helped is one, obviously, I would look back to my relationship and all the negative stuff that I went through with that person and everything that, was negative. Like I would bring it to think and be like, you know what? I deserve better. So I need to stop stressing about this guy and stop crying over this relationship that in reality, I wasn't happy. So like you said, it's all positivity, like
Yeah.
bring the positive and think about, obviously I thought about the negative to make me
Yeah.
be like, you know what, I need to stop, I need to stop like freaking crying about, over this guy and over this relationship that at the end, it didn't bring nothing but headaches.
Yeah.
To be honest, I thought I was in love and I thought that, everything was perfect, but now not being with him and thinking about the memories and stuff, that wasn't the relationship I wanted to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So that actually, like, you know what, I deserve better.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was points in my life where obviously it was down, and I feel like when you dealing with a breakup, there comes a point where you do break down.
Mm-hmm.
There's a point
Yeah.
where either you cry or whatever you do, but you get to a level where like you're like, oh my god, like it was over, whatever, whatever. But no,
Yeah.
reality is your life is not over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Continue, bring yourself up and know that if that relationship didn't work, it's because that person wasn't for you. And there's gonna be a person for you that is gonna treat you better, that you're gonna be happy with.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking positive, and
Yeah.
someday, I'll find out that it's for me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
and I agree with
everybody
that.
out
I
there.
think that that's the one thing too, like for myself is like I still sometimes I'm like, man, like my whole marriage wasn't bad, right? There was some great times that I can like look at, but then I have to look at like the deeper issues, right? Because on the surface, there was a lot of great things that happened on the surface, but there was a lot of deep rooted issues that just kept coming back, coming back. And it's like we were kind of like sweeping it under the rug until the rug, we couldn't sweep anything else underneath the rug, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, although, you know, we were trying and we were trying hard to ignore those things before you know it, those things have become so huge, it's hard to ignore. And you go through like that, you don't want to break up your family, so let's see if
Mm.
like maybe we'll stay in it for the family.
Yeah.
But I believe like once I hit 30, I was at this point like of understanding what self-love is and understanding what self-care is, and just trying to understand that if I'm not happy, my kids are not going to be happy, right? So if I
Yeah.
stay in a situation for my children are not going to be happy because they're going to be able to sense that I'm not happy.
Right.
So who am I helping in the end, right? I'm not helping myself because I'm choosing to stay in something that I know isn't good. And,
Yeah.
although we like, oh, we need to stay together for the kids, you find when the kids get older, the kids are like, my parents hated each other. I don't even know why they stayed together for so
It's
long.
it's crazy
And
that you say that too. It's crazy that you say that because my homes, well, my mother and father, this situation, they separated after 25 years of marriage.
Mhm.
I was around 21 at the time. And it's crazy looking back. I used to always wonder how life would have been if they would have gotten separated earlier,
Mhm.
because there was so much. They weren't. It wasn't a physically abusive home. It wasn't that. It was like more emotionally, maybe verbally.
Mhm.
But I always used to think. I remember being like 17, 18. I was like, what if? How would life have been if my parents got separated?
Mhm.
Because I saw the tension that they had, and I felt like at times the that was taken out on me, or
Mhm.
whatever. And so I feel like it's very important because I went through that when me and my daughter's mom were kind of splitting up. I really wanted to work things out because for one, I didn't want her to have a two I wanted her to have a two family household,
Mhm.
and I wanted to break that generational curse. I felt like, my parents, they went through this and they couldn't get it together. I felt like if I got it together with her and, we had a happy home, that it would break some of these curses or whatever.
Mhm.
But then realizing like, look, if the parents aren't getting together, aren't getting along, it's better for the child to see two happy parents away from the house than two miserable parents in the home,
Mhm.
because If my daughter sees that, that's what she's gonna model. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if she sees me being a miserable man and responding miserably to her mom, that's the model that she's gonna see when she grows up. So she's gonna
Yeah.
look for that type of man. You know,
Yeah.
it hurts being it really hurts being a single parent. Like it really hurts, especially when you want that two family home, when you want that family. But what kind of keeps me grounded is realizing, like, you know what, I would have, my daughter would have saw me in my daughter wouldn't have seen me this happy,
Mhm.
you know, if I stayed in the situation.
Yeah.
And, you know, not to say that person is a bad person. We both had our differences, you know.
Mhm.
But she get I'm glad that she actually gets to see something different,
Yeah.
you know, and just see me in a good place and see a
Yeah.
man in a good place, so that she has that model growing up.
Yeah.
So I mean, we do stay in things for various reasons. You know, even after we see the red flags, like I remember getting in a relationship and I saw all of the red flags, and I was like maybe close to a year in it, and I was like, well, if I leave this relationship, then what? It's like looking in the future and not being able to see what the future holds without a person. And I didn't realize back then how toxic that was. Like, you
Mhm.
know, your worth and value is not tied up in this person.
Yeah.
What if, you know, I messed up opportunities for relationships.
Mhm.
I remember when I was 24, I had the opportunity to move to Atlanta, and moving to Atlanta was a big dream of mine. And I had the opportunity to go, but I was in this relationship and I was real serious about this person, and I felt like this would be the one. And that was one of the reasons why I stayed. I stayed for other reasons, but I allowed myself to I allowed that person to be a big reason why I didn't do something in life that I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And I look back now and I'm like, how would I have grown? Like if I made that move to go to Atlanta, how would I have
Mhm.
grown? You know, I made that move to stay in that relationship. It didn't work out, and I felt like I wasted time. You know, but it's crazy. Like we get into these things, and we allow a relationship to kind of like steer us and veer us away from our dreams and goals in life. Um, you know, but
Yeah.
that's kind
I
of,
think
you know,
that's the chance we take on love, right? You know,
yeah,
I think that love, everyone wants to be loved. And that was the one thing for my marriage was that, we went to therapy. Throughout our marriage, we went to therapy, but the most recent time went to therapy for 2 years. And there was a lot of things revealed in therapy that, I was confused by because as a wife, you think you're doing everything that, of course, everybody can work on something, but you think that you're doing, what you can do for the relationship. So there was things that were revealed, but in saying that, at the end, I was like, I just want you to be happy. And if you're not happy with me, I want you to be happy with somebody else. But I
yeah,
feel like everybody in life deserves to be happy in their relationship. And yes, there's going to be relationships are not always going to be at the newlywed stage. You're going to go through issues. That's what makes you stronger. But there's some things that you shouldn't have to deal with, right? And if
yeah,
you keep dealing with it and it's a recurring experience, then you have to know that there's over 1 million people on this earth and you're going to find, the person that you're meant to be with. But if you settle and you stay in something because of the kids, or you stay in something because you were young when you made the decision, you're never
hmm
going to know if there's somebody else out there that you're in sync with and that you're meant to be with forever. So my thing was when I asked for the separation was basically, look, I just want you to be happy. And obviously you're not happy with me. So I would prefer you to take the opportunity. We were young. Take the opportunity to go and find your happiness. If a year from now, 2 years from now, it comes out that, God wants us to come back together or be back together, then who am I to say no? Like God has showed me in the past that what I want isn't always what he's going to give me. So,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that if my husband is meant to reconnect with me again in the future, then great. But right now, at this point, I just want him to be happy. And I'm not that person that is making him happy. So go find it. And I mean that genuinely. And if I can co-parent with him and if we can still be friends even. Like I'm for that. I'm a really like soft-hearted person. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, you gotta do child support, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. You got No, I'm all for like let's try to figure this out for the better of our children. But at the end of the day, your happiness is important. So
Yeah.
I think we definitely have to get out of that stigma of oh well, the kids are going to be miserable, you got to stay together for the kids. And it's like the kids are going to get older, they're going to go to college, they're going to move out, they're going to get married, and you're going to look at the past 20 years of your life and say, oh my goodness, I stayed in this relationship and I wasn't happy. i
Mm-hmm.
don't I don't think that your children will want that, or my children will want that. So
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I
So
do
I
agree.
definitely think, going through a breakup is a journey. I think that what you're saying, Franklin, as far as you finding a rebound and jumping back into a relationship, when does it, and this is for you and Angela, when does it not become a rebound, right? Like if I'm separated for 6 months and I date somebody, is that still a rebound? If I separated for a year and then I started dating, is that my
I feel
rebound?
like a rebound is when I feel like a rebound, I don't know, it doesn't have time for like it's not a specific time. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like a rebound is like when you're with that new person and you're thinking about your ex.
Okay.
I feel like you're using that person as a rebound.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it could take you, I don't know how long it takes you for you to forget your ex, whatever. When you have forgotten your ex, that's when I feel like you should move on to a new relationship. If
Okay.
you haven't healed from your past relationship and you haven't forgotten your ex, you shouldn't even be in a new relationship.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. I don't think there's any time frame for when it's not a no. I won't say there's a time frame, but I would probably say it's not a rebound when you've actually healed, because you think you healed. Like there's times I thought I was healed, and I got into another relationship, and I'm like, oh, okay, so this came up again, and then I spent like maybe 6 months of that relationship talking about my ex, and I'm like, and that like really put pressure on the relationship, and I was like, you know what, I'm not done. I'm not healed. Like this is a rebound. Um, it's like it's hard to know when it's not a rebound or when it is. I just really feel like it's when you're healed.
Mm,
Um, but then right. So I believe that if you get into a good relationship, that person can help you heal from certain things from your past and help you unpack certain things.
mhm,
So sometimes we don't. Sometimes we could get into a situation and not realize that we needed to unpack this
mhm,
until we're with the right person. You know, so how do I know when it's real? When I'm completely over that ex, and I'm just completely invested, mind, body, soul, into this new person, and I kind of see, I kind of like I've integrated them into my life, um, but it's just a big indication that I'm not over that person, or that it is a rebound if I'm still thinking about my ex, if I'm still thinking about anybody else.
Do you find it harder now to get over your ex because you have a child by them
Mm, mm,
versus before, when you broke up with somebody and you got into a new relationship, it may have been a little easier to transition?
mm. Yeah, it's real hard with a person. If I didn't have a kid with you and we broke up, I could probably get over you faster by drowning those feelings or the thoughts of you and just getting away from you or whatever. But
Mm,
with a child, that's for life. That bond is for
mm.
life. You're not getting away from that. Any dude who
You still
says,
have to
And you
see
got
that
lucky that
person.
your girl looks like you.
yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? So there's no getting away from that. It's either like, okay, so I could we share time or whatever. And there could be times where like, okay, I'm not gonna see my daughter in 3 days, right? So I'm grinding, 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 and the thought of my daughter in the midst of those days can just like it's hard to get over someone if you have a child. Like that's a lifelong connection that's just there,
Yeah.
like all the
If
time. You're
the other parent
constantly.
is involved, then yes, it's hard. But when
Yeah,
the other
I get,
parent is
yeah.
not involved, I mean, obviously it is hard because you're like, damn, I have kids with that, with that
Well,
man or whatever.
I think it's still hard, Angela, for you too. Like when the birthday comes and the
Hmm.
father isn't there, or
Oh my
when
God.
It's not
Christmas
hard. It's
comes.
not hard. It's hard. It's different. It's hard. Okay, my situation is completely different. I'm not gonna put it all out there, but it's not hard for me personally. Like with what I had with him, it's hard with what he is. What part he's taken in my child's life.
Yeah.
That's
So it's just still
the
hard
hard
to forget about
part.
him, not like
But not me thinking
romantically.
about him. Like they really don't care. Romantically,
Are you freezing again?
but like birthday or whatever, and a whole different story.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
leave it there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think that you're like thinking about him like, oh my goodness, I want to be back with him. I think you're thinking about like, man, like this guy really needs to do better,
Yeah.
be a better person, be a better father. But you're still thinking about him. Whereas if you didn't have children by him, you wouldn't
Wouldn't
have
be
a
thinking
Right.
reason to,
about
he
at
wouldn't even pop up
all.
in your head.
At all.
Yeah, that. Yeah, but it doesn't interfere with my feelings at all.
Yeah.
Romantically, it doesn't.
Yeah.
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 But
Yeah.
yeah, obviously, like Franklin said, I mean, when you have kids with someone, they're with you forever, whether they're around or not. Like, yes, you do mention them. Like,
Yeah.
damn, he ain't even call or she, whatever. So yeah,
Yeah.
it is
And
true.
that's a rough part too, because it's like this person is taking up time on my mind, and I'm not involved with this person romantically. Like I could deal with it if we had a full, complete relationship going, but
Mhm.
like I just want to forget about it because when usually it's like we're not thinking about the good things. It's
Yeah.
like it's the bad things that we're reminded of. So it's like I want to get this person out of my head, but we can't. It's a lifelong thing. It could
And
get.
that's
I feel like it could get more cordial, but we're gonna be
yeah.
connected for life.
And that's the thing for me. So, like, everybody asks me because, currently I'm separated, but we still live together. So, that's even more difficult for me to just like forget because I see this man, I see this man every day,
Yeah, yeah.
So in my head, like in the beginning, I was just so eager to like, move out or find a place to stay or something because I was just like, this is so hard. It's hard enough, that we're separated, but now I have to see him every day. I know if he's going away for the weekend, like things like that are just still like in my face. Whereas
Right,
if I had my own place or, he had his own place, and I had the kids this weekend. I don't know what he's doing because he's at his own place. But,
right.
if he's going away for the weekend and he tells me like, you got to be here because I'm going to be going away for a weekend, now my mind is like, where he going? Like, what he doing?
Yeah.
And it's only but normal to like have those thoughts when you're living still with the person that you're not in a relationship with. So it definitely is a complicated situation.
Oh
And,
yes.
I think that it doesn't even allow you to fully heal when you see the
Mm-mm.
person all the time, you
No.
know?
It's crazy because the person that I was in a relationship with after my daughter's mom, she I had to see her every week. And so I didn't realize that I wasn't fully healing from it, but what I was doing was like pressing it down, like I wasn't allowing myself to feel anything. And I would have to see this person. And it wasn't until quarantine really started to kick up and I wasn't around this person at all. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I'm still feeling this.
Yeah.
And I was able to heal from it faster because I wasn't around them. But it's
Hmm.
like when we're around them all the time, we find ways to cope with being
Hmm.
around them.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna shut down in this area emotionally so that when I'm around them, they don't trigger this. And now we're walking around like not even fully expressing ourselves or open because we're guarded around this person. And
Yeah, I use Angela as my person because there are definitely moments where I'm like, I don't even know the person I live with. And then there's moments where I'm like, oh, yeah, we had dinner as a family at the table or something. Like we all sat at the dinner table. And
it's
she's like,
confusing.
what? Like, what is going on? And I just think like it's just an emotional roller coaster. And
Yeah.
in my mind, I want it to be peaceful. I just want us to be able to co parent and be friends. But I realize that that's not reality, right? Reality is there's
It
hurt
can
there.
happen. It depends. It
I mean, but
depends.
there's still hurt there. So I think once we go through that healing
Hmm.
process, then we could get there. But I think that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there's still hurt, and I think even hope, on somebody's part, I think that that's what definitely complicates it. But heartbreak is something that I think, you know, is definitely battling because on some hand you're like, wait, I thought I was a great person in this relationship that I'm not in anymore. What did I
Hmm.
do wrong? And you start to look at yourself that maybe I did something wrong. And then you get into a new relationship and either that person says you never did anything wrong, like what you're doing is fine, like you're great, you're this, or you get into the new relationship and the same issues you had in the past
Hmm.
relationship you find yourself having in the new relationship. So it
Yeah.
gives you kind of like that realization, like, man, maybe I should have just stayed in the other relationship
Right.
because and just worked on myself, right? So it's,
Hmm.
it's definitely like a
So
confusing.
maybe you're the problem and you need to work on
Maybe I'm the
yourself.
problem.
Oh
Yes,
look,
that's the
look.
hard. That's the
I had to
raw
keep it
way.
real
Thank you.
myself.
Thank you.
You,
Had to
I'm
keep it
just
real
I
talking
with
in
was trying to
general.
myself.
I'm
say it in a
saying
nice
Yep.
way,
I'm not
but
Hey,
saying you. I'm
look.
just saying I'm talking in general. Like obviously, if
yeah.
you bring the same problems to your new relationship, okay, so you got to sit down and be like, hold up, he wasn't or she wasn't the problem. It's me.
Mhm. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
And that's
you
the
know, you
harsh
have to like,
reality. And that's the harsh reality because now you move forward into this new relationship. So it's like the new relationship, you're still figuring out yourself and, things that you're like, I wasn't wrong. Like I walked away from this relationship because it wasn't healthy. But then you go into a new one and find the same issues. You have to reevaluate yourself and say, man, maybe I should have done some things right, or I should have did this differently, or I shouldn't have been so stubborn, you know?
Hmm.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relationships take a lot of work. And I think that, the TVs, the movies, they make it like it's supposed to be perfect all the time. And truth is, it's not.
Social media.
Yes.
Because we
Mm-mm.
we we say social media and everything makes relationships, but our parents and even our sometimes our churches, sometimes a lot of different things make
Yes.
relationships harder than they need to be,
Yes.
because we think that and like
That's
especially
true.
to the church audience, please can we stop making relationships so hard, like
Yeah.
can we stop making people believe that they have to wait for Jesus or we wait for the Virgin Mary? I don't want the Virgin Mary. You don't want Jesus. You can't handle Jesus. I don't want the Virgin Mary. Like I don't want that. I want somebody who's suitable to me. But it's like a lot of times we place all of these because relationships are big money. It's big money, and we place all of these new slogans and terms on it, and we complicate things. And in reality, like if we just really just take our time and get to know who we are, get to know our love language, that's important. Get to know what our strong points, points are, what triggers us, how do we communicate, learn how to communicate better. If we know who we are, then we'll know what we have to offer in a relationship. But a lot of times we look for this perfect person, and we're not perfect at all.
Yeah.
We have this checklist of this person has to have this, and that, because this is what I need to level up. But have we leveled up first?
Yeah.
Because we're gonna track what we are, and
Yeah.
that's so true. Like I look back over my relationships, and who I was at that time was who I attracted.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, I want this person. It was who I was at the time. And
We believe, yeah, you're absolutely right. A lot of times people are like, oh, I don't know why I was with this guy, but like, that's who you attracted. You're absolutely right. I believe that. I think that when you mentioned the churches, I was smiling because I honestly feel that way, right? I feel
yeah,
like um, after quarantine, if I pop up in my church and I'm like a single mom of four, they're gonna be like, what happened? But
right.
it's one of those things where like my husband from the beginning like expressed his religious views and it didn't matter to me because it was like, oh, I love you, I don't care. But it did become one of our issues, right? Because I am in the church. I do believe in God. I do believe in servicing my church and being there. And he didn't. So it's like, does the rules change because like you're not equally yoked? Because the church does look at it and they say, oh, well, don't get a divorce. God said doesn't don't get a divorce, or God says this, stick with it, stay married. And it's like, but did God say stay married if there was like mental abuse? If the God say stay married, like, like what? I don't. I feel like a lot of times, and half of the people in church have gone through separations, right? Or they're not married anymore, right? Or they
Mhm.
just don't disclose it and they don't tell people. And I feel like we are all human. We're not perfect. And the
Mhm.
fact is that the church is like the hospital for sick people. And I
Yeah.
think that a lot of times we get distracted because we go to church and we sit in the pew and we seem like we're so perfect and we have it together when to
Mhm.
me, I don't. Like
No.
I'm hurt and I'm looking for something. So don't judge me if I walk in and I'm no longer with my spouse or whatever. Ask me if I'm
Yeah.
okay. You
Yeah.
know, I made a post the other day about um instead of you judging, ask if the person's okay. And I think that that is so important because a lot of people are so quick to judge and not know somebody's situation. You don't
Yeah.
know what I'm going through. You don't know what anybody's going through. So won't you ask the person like, hey, I reached out to you a couple of times. You didn't answer. Are you okay? Do you need anything? I think
Yeah.
that that's important. But in the church, I definitely feel like they don't normalize that relationships go through things and how you go
Mhm.
about it.
Yeah, that's true. Like we gotta be more real. I really believe that there's a lack of realness and transparency when it comes to things like that. I feel like it's getting a lot better, but there's still so many people who are caught up in the image of everything. We want to keep our image right. We want to make it seem like we're so whatever, and our relationships are failing behind the scenes. And especially with us with African American people, we is this therapy thing is new. It wasn't popular. It was, oh, if you're in therapy, something is really wrong. I remember my parents trying to go to therapy and counseling for their marriage, and my father didn't want to go back then. My mother was open to it. This whole thing. I feel like we're more open to being transparent and healing from certain things, but hiding it is just going to keep the cycle going. It's just going to keep the cycle going. We got to be open and transparent about ourselves, and it's our pride that doesn't want to let ourselves look. I'm not perfect at all.
Hmm.
Like I got issues. Like in those relationships, like I had to look and realize, dude, it was you played a big part in why you're single again.
Hmm.
Rather than we want to blame people, we want to blame things, we want to blame circumstances and situations. Oh, because this was set in place, so it was meant for us to fail. No, it was just you. And you know, like I don't want to get so deep into it, but yeah, we do have to be transparent.
Yeah.
We do.
And
We
I
can't
think that
we can't hide it.
And I think that that's why Angela and I wanted to create this platform on this podcast. And I said it a few times already because I feel like it's so important to let people know that you're not the only one that's going through these things. And it was so important for me because I feel like this year, 2020, has been such a rough year.
Hmm.
And I feel like my story could help someone. My story could let people understand that, you know, don't think about like killing yourself or that you're the only one that's going through this so you don't want to live anymore because you're alone and you feel by yourself. I feel like, this is life. And for me, God's never going to give you anything that you can't handle. And if you know that you have a support system, you have somebody that is going through the same thing, it's easier for you to feel like, oh, this person's going through it, but they're still making it. They're still surviving. They're still smiling every day. Like my social media, I don't put a lot of negative on my social media because
Hmm.
I believe in uplifting people. I believe
Yeah.
in trying to help people and motivate people when they're scrolling and they see a positive quote. I want them to know and it also helps me. It's therapeutic for me.
Hmm.
But I feel like that's why we created this platform. And I'm so happy, Franklin,
Yeah.
that you came on to tell your story. We do have to wrap it up.
Yeah.
But I'm
Good.
so happy that
This
you
is great.
came and told your story. And I would love to have you back on in a couple of months from now or a year from now, just to kind of see where you're at because,
Yeah.
growth isn't something that's going to happen tomorrow, right? We're all
Right.
growing.
Yeah.
And it definitely takes time. But I think that once we're able to acknowledge our faults and our wrongdoing, and we're able to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, what do I need to do to be happy? And
Mhm.
not look for somebody else to make us happy. I think that that's definitely the step in the right direction.
Right.
Right, Angela?
Agreed. This is dope. This is dope.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm so excited. Again, we thank you. We're going to wrap up this episode. Today was on heartbreak and how to deal with heartbreak. And we appreciate you for telling your story. And do you want to say anything before we disconnect or?
Yes. I just want to say, just a word of encouragement to people before you enter into it. This is cuffing season. Please don't jump into a relationship too fast. Um, if you see the red flags at the beginning, take the red flag serious. Please don't wait for a year because those red flags will come back to bite you. And I want to say to men, right? Find your purpose before you enter a relationship. Give when you enter a relationship, give that person something to help cultivate before you enter into a new relationship. And just really find yourself, and to everyone, just really be healed before we enter anything new, because if we're not healed, then we're bound or almost destined to repeat the same cycle over and over again.
Mhm.
And it might be a year from now, it might be 6 months, it might be 2 years, but then we'll end up in heartbreak again. And that's kind of the thing, like just preventing it beforehand. But I do appreciate you guys having me on your show. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed being on here. Um, on social media, you can follow me on social media
Mhm.
at I am Franklin Clark on Instagram, and at Heel Zone Official. That's the podcast.
Mhm.
And I really enjoyed talking with y'all. I
Yes,
enjoyed it.
yes. And congratulations on your upcoming podcast. We'll definitely be on the lookout for it. And
Yes.
we're just so happy that, you can be a male advocate for men out there. So I'm so excited about it. And, thank you for allowing us to, interview you and ask you some real and raw questions. And
Welcome, guys.
all right. So thank you again, guys, for tuning in to The Real and Raw with Tasha.
And Angela.
Until next time, bye.
Right.